What would you do if humanity lost? If the corpses started walking? If you had to fight both the living and the undead? Society is gone. We are killing each other, letting them win. But there's still hope. If I managed to create a cure, it could bring humanity together. I would make this place a safe haven for any survivors that need refuge. But there was a lot to be done. Research had to be made. Construct a proper drug lab. Learn machining. There was no time to lose. The undead were piling up outside. I had a lot on my plate. I needed to keep them in line. The bodies dropped like flies. I proceeded to extract their blood into separate vials for further experimentation. That was the key to finding a cure. Once the zone was clear, I began cutting the trees near the shelter. I spent as much time as possible collecting resources. Even in my sleep, I could hear them roaming just outside my door. I had to keep going. I put up more wooden shelves in the storage room, and that same night, the living were as much, if not more dangerous than the walking dead. I put up some makeshift spike traps to cripple their attack, alongside some sandbags to provide cover if I had to fall back. The invaders moved under the rain, gunshots echoing throughout the grasslands. Those creatures were both a curse and a blessing. The desperate raiders did everything at their disposal to get to me. But I knew better. I didn't need traps. The beasts themselves were enough to distract them, to give the edge I needed in battle. After all, it wasn't just a numbers game. I might have been alone, but by playing my cards right, no enemy was unbeatable. Before tending to my wounds, I needed to make sure the bodies stayed dead. I bandaged myself using some of their own medicine. One of them came back from the dead. I lay down on my bed. I wasn't sure if I was awake or dreaming. But those disgusting sounds shook me to the core. And then, like I said, a blessing and a curse. Once I felt better, I resumed work towards my objective. The research wasn't simple. The physical work was straining my body, and I needed even more space. From sunrise to nightfall, I kept on working, when suddenly, a visitor arrived. Agatha Elliot, from the Finhatna faction. She wasn't interested in staying, but was willing to trade. Finding a cure was still a naive desire, a mere hope, but enough to keep going. Diseases aren't something to take lightly. Thankfully, with each passing day, my skills were improving. From medical knowledge to construction and anything in between. I turned this place into something worth fighting for, an example on how humanity can prosper even in these dark ages. By doing what is right. In extreme situations, showing mercy, compassion, taking care of the life of others. One action may not change the world, but it could change another being's life, making the world just a tiny bit better. It was time to expand, gain some ground, and push them back. Things were starting to take shape. Research was going well, making progress, but things escalated. The raiders were getting more dangerous. Better firearms, properly armored, but I couldn't back down. I needed to act first. I got out and started firing my rifle. I had the advantage. By putting enough distance between me and them, I could cripple their forces and let fear do the rest. One of them was still alive, but it was too far gone. There was no way back.
No! No! No!
Having more space to work with made a world's difference. From time to time, I went outside and killed some of them, gathering more samples. I tore down the old walls, preparing for the new, studying, reflecting, and cleaning them out. Next thing in line was to reinforce this place. So, I built a stone cutter table, proceeded to refine the granite chunks into bricks, and then replaced the outer walls. Spent all day placing brick by brick, and then mining some more. The noise seemed to agitate them. Not only that, but as time went by, their behavior started to change, becoming more aggressive, trying to tear the walls apart. They were fixed on getting inside. It was getting out of control. I had to keep up, collect the biles, repair the damage, and move on. Stone was much more costly. The process was slower, but if the undead were going to keep tearing the walls apart, I had no other choice. After a full night of heavy rain, something fell from the sky. I ran as fast as possible to the impact zone. Someone. Her name was Captain Novak, a member of a hostile faction. She was bleeding out. I couldn't leave her like that. After bandaging her, I carried her back to the safe house. I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't have a proper space to accommodate someone yet. While she rested, I put up some walls, a roof, and the rest of the floor. The wounds were infected, not by the zombie virus, bacteria. Hopefully her immune system will win the fight. I did my best to treat Novak's wounds and bring her food. All of this while keeping the walls in good shape, advancing on my research, and keeping the beasts under control. Since I arrived on this planet, this was the first time that I actually was worried about someone. I needed to make this feel like home, keep working. I assured Novak that I provided all the medical attention that she needed. She was conflicted, grateful for the rescue, but still saw me as an enemy of her faction. I tried to prove my goodwill, talk about peace, not war. I improved the accommodations, made it a nicer place, but she was still hesitant. Next morning, she felt better. The same day, we got raided. Knives, bows, and simple firearms. I almost got stabbed, but handled the situation with no problems. I checked on Novak, and that kept studying for the rest of the day. Cold was starting to settle in. Had installed some heaters for the night. The research for the drug lab was finished. Next thing in line was batteries. Energy was fundamental to prosper. The goal was to be able to automate defenses with gun turrets to keep death at bay. I set up the drug table. To be able to synthesize a perfect cure, I needed to get a sufficient amount of samples, 100 of them. The thing is, not every corpse is in good shape. The road ahead will be tough. The unexpected will happen, and it can tear you apart. But one must learn from their mistakes, not fall into the trap of guilt and despair. By growing, helping each other, seeking a brighter future. If people work together, we bring light into this dark world. A new hope, helping one another, pushing those beasts and putting them back where they belong. Now, things were different. I wasn't alone anymore. The knowledge, the discovery was growing. Combining our strengths, the progress was insane. Life itself was better, not being out here alone anymore. Even when things get grim, when everything fails, we'd fight, stand our ground, bring them down. If we fall, we stand up again. It wouldn't be easy. They were fierce, their eyes were glowing red, but we wouldn't break. For every challenge that we faced, we'd come out of it stronger. We'd make a name for ourselves. No one would be left alone. Whatever they need, we'd provide. Word will spread, and more people would come. We worked in tandem, researching, gathering, constructing, helping. Breakthrough. One after the other, healing, discovering, achieving. This was a turning point. Things would change. We built the first turret of many to come. A new era. It wasn't perfect. Things didn't always go well. That's the reality we had to deal with. But no one shall be forgotten. One must not underestimate them. It was easy to get overconfident, and that's when the worst happened. Nova got bit. Everything depended on this. A cure. A new hope. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you like to see more Rimworld, consider watching part 1, where I crash land alone with nothing in a world full of zombies. Hope to see you again. Goodbye.